This is just a sample of the audiobook. To get the complete audiobook, access the link posted in the first comment.
You are about to read the story of my journey from ordinary high school student to gymnastics still rings champion. I recount it in fairly complete detail in order to clearly identify the path I was able to forge that took me from mediocre gymnast to top contender. This story should demonstrate, in a way that words by themselves can't, the ideas we talk about in this book. It will give you a rough sketch, an example, of how advanced skills in a sport can be developed and high levels of performance reached, even against tough odds. While this section contains a lot of details specific to gymnastics still rings event, I have done my best to explain and illustrate the various moves and skills mentioned, so that you are able to track me without getting lost. It is my intention that, rather than concentrating on just the details pertaining to the still rings, you will be able to see beyond the specifics of that sport to work out how you might apply what I did to your sport. Just so you know, during that important year in my life you'll be reading about, I didn't yet know about any of the principles and concepts we've talked about, and couldn't have told you myself what I was doing that worked, or why. I just knew I had to work as smart and hard as I possibly could to even stand a small chance of realizing my goals. It was only much later, after becoming a coach and teacher, that I was able to analyze my experiences and come up with these principles, so that any athlete could apply them and create his or her own success. It is simply remarkable how one single moment in a person's life can literally change everything. I'm speaking of a point when some event or experience occurs, and suddenly the way you think becomes much more narrowly focused and less haphazard. It's almost as if the world comes to a momentary stop, or maybe shifts a little, enabling you to see a direction for yourself that just wasn't visible before. For me, that moment, that shift in my world, came toward the end of my junior year in high school. It was not something I expected or was entirely prepared for, but who really is? The first 3 years of my high school life stood pretty much like any other normal teenager's. Like most, I was insecure, very concerned about my appearance, and much more interested in the social things going on around school and on the weekends than in schoolwork or athletics. I even remember telling my father, when he questioned me about my poor classroom performance, that the first 3 years of high school are not counted in your GPA for college. It's embarrassing in thinking back on it, to realize that I so readily tried to deceive my father to justify my academic failings. Sports, in my case gymnastics, was just something I did because I enjoyed it and had a little talent. It certainly was not a high priority on my list. I was average at best and competed for one of the lowest level teams in our high school conference. My favorite event was the still rings. Being able to perform swinging movements while demonstrating power and strength on 2 wooden rings hung from the ceiling, all while trying to keep the apparatus still, held a special attraction for me. However, as a junior in high school, I was not really very good at it. I just thought working this event was a fun thing to do. I never suspected that in the very near future my attitude was going to undergo a drastic change. It was at the end of my junior year that I made a decision that would alter the direction of my life forever. During the gymnastics conference meet in February, toward the end of our season, I had a chance to see a senior gymnast from Addison Trail High School in Illinois compete on the still rings. The memory of this event sticks with me even to this day, as if it had happened yesterday.